How you guys doing?
What's going on?
Oh man, sun is out. Came out with a sweatshirt on. Had to take it off. I thought it was gonna be a little chilly today.
A little different than yesterday.
Yeah, almost definitely.
Coach, big difference in the defensive backfield depth this season versus last season. A lot of guys came in the spring and really got acclimated quickly, and then you brought in some real good talent in the fall too. How are you guys meshing as a room?
Yeah, I first and foremost want to thank God and thank Coach Wilcox for the opportunity to be a part of the staff, and thank Coach Watson for allowing me to be an addition to the room. And I think our job as coaches, first and foremost, is to invest in our young men, right, and to pour into them in a way in which we will pour into our own children. And I think that's what has allowed for us to have the camaraderie in the room, right? Is I think everyone feels valued. I think everyone feels love, and I think the guys in general in the room, they do a really good job in acclimating and bringing new additions in and making them feel like they were already a part of the room. And in order to play at this level, to be able to compete at this level, you have to have a significant amount of depth. The game that we play, the game that the guys play, is a physical game. It's a taxing game, and there could be any moment where somebody's name or number is going to be called. And the guys took it upon themselves to build that accountability in the room, and it really has carried on to coming out here to practice and seeing everybody compete. And that's the thing, we believe in competition. That's one of the things that we emphasize in our room is being able to compete, because when we step out in the field on Saturday, we're going to be competing to get some of the best. And so it starts in the room, and we bring it out here to the practice field, and hopefully it translates to Saturday.
Typically, unless there's a lot of graduations or guys going pro, there's going to be 3 or 4 guys that are just clear-cut starters. But you can look at that DB room and see 8 to 10 guys that could legit start. How do you sort that out?
Yeah, it makes Coach Watson and my job quite challenging, to be honest. But that's what we want. The rooms that we've been fortunate enough to be a part in our coaching career, that's what those rooms look like. And so we're extremely grateful that we've been able to take that next step as a unit to be able to help the team ultimately. And so we always believe it sorts itself out. And at the end of the day, we do a really good job at tracking production. We do a really good job at tracking assignments, technique, in terms of evaluating from day to day. And it's on the players to be able to make sure they're locked into their job and responsibility, and at the end of the day go out there and just play football. And the best players are going to see the field. And we're always bugging Coach Sherman about finding ways to get extra DBs on the field, but we're just trying to do our part to be able to help the team.
Who makes the call on substitutions during a game?
It's a collaborative deal between Coach Watson and myself, and we try to find a rhythm, because we both remember playing the position at this level, and we know what it feels like to get in a rhythm and to be pulled off the field and try to get back out there and get back in the rhythm. And so we try to be very strategic in terms of the substitutions that we make, but like I said, and you already attested to it, just having that much depth, it helps out, to be able to have, some fresh legs here and there from drive to drive, to be able to still go out there and be trusted to execute their job.
What are your thoughts about the challenges this wide receiving room is presenting with your guys in coverage?
Yeah, I think Coach Toller, I think Coach Blesh, I think Coach Wilcox, and even our recruiting staff did a really good job at bringing in more talent in that room to not only help make the team better, but to help make us better as well. But they've done a really great job at bringing in guys that have different strengths. Right. One thing that is common amongst the board is there is a new level of speed, and I think that's from playing this game at this level, that's what you want in that room. And we believe iron sharpens iron, and so if we give our guys the opportunity to get the best looks in practice, and they get the opportunity to get the best looks in practice, then it's going to give them an opportunity to go out there Saturday and be able to compete at a high level. And so we're fired up about the new additions in the room. I think they're all doing an amazing job right now, and so we're excited to see how these next some practices go. To continue to challenge one another, continue to make each other better.
Who's the fastest guy in the secondary?
I'm gonna leave that to them. You know, I'm not gonna answer that question. I'm gonna leave that to them. You might have to ask Blue Hearns, or you might have to ask Marcus Harris and them that question. I'm gonna leave that to them. But we definitely feel good that we have some speed in the back
Those
end.
two are among the fastest guys.
Yeah, look, they might look at me sideways if I start saying that nobody else, wasn't at the top list. So, like I said, I'll leave that to them. They'll be the ones that be able to respond to that question.
There was a decent amount of zone last year. Do you feel like you have the horses to run a lot more man this year?
Yeah, I think, to be able to, again, like I've said, to be able to compete at a high level, you got to be able to adjust and adapt with the new style of play from colleges, from college offenses and, the different formations. And, you try to not have too many adjustments and checks so that the guys can just play fast. And obviously being able to play man-to-man coverage, helps out a lot. And I think that we do have, the guys in the back end to be able to hold their ground and to be able to compete and be able to make plays out there on the island in the slot. And then we trust our guys that are protecting everybody on the roof in terms of our post safeties. We trust everybody back there to be able to get the job done. So we feel good about it.
We have some new guys this fall, a lot of new guys in the spring, but the new guys this fall, Yates and Wagner and Kamani Hudson. How have those guys shown? What are they showing so far?
Yeah, Yates, Wagner, and Kamani. I mean, the thing that you like about all three of those guys is they're eager. They're eager. They have the desire to be better. They have the desire to be coached. They have the desire to contribute, to the team in any form or fashion. And I think that is one thing that we've really appreciated about each one of those young men. And in addition, obviously their talent helps in terms of them being able to bring new things to the room. And just like I said, just continue to add that depth. But we've been, pleased with where they're at in terms of these first 6 practices and being able to get acclimated with the system. I mean, it's rare that you see them out there making the same mistake twice. They're really coachable young men, and I think that our room does a great job at bringing everybody in and helping them get acclimated with the system. Guys like Craig Wilson, guys like Lou Hearns, Miles Williams, those Noah Williams, those guys did a really good job when they got here this summer, teaching them the ways, what the standard is of the room, and holding them accountable. And that's how they've been able to come out here and contribute the past 5-6 practices without looking like, they're lost. They're able to actually get in and figure it out and be a part of what's going on.
What has Cam done to be that next man up for you guys?
Cam Sidney? Yeah, I mean, Cam Sidney, just like we notice and recognize through the recruiting process, he's a sharp guy. He has a really high football IQ, and that's what he's proven, is that he has the ability to know more than just one particular position. And so when you have that versatility, we preach it all the time, versatility adds value. And so we're proud of where he is in terms of his development. And then we're going to continue to challenge him, but his football IQ helps him be in the position to make plays, be in the position to command, communicate, and do the things that we require of our safeties to do.
What can you say about Lou? Obviously, he was a little dinged up, I think, in the spring to come back and be competing. What can you say just about his overall development and progress here?
Yeah, I mean, one thing about Lou is he's his toughest critic. He's his toughest critic. We can be, pretty critical in terms of some of the things that he needs to work on, things that he needs to fix, or or strengths that he needs to improve. At the end of the day, he's his toughest critic, and so he's always going to be hard on himself. But these first 5-6 practices, we like where he's at. We like where he's at. We like where he's at mentally. We like where he's at as a leader in the room. He holds everybody to a standard, and it shows today. Being able to slide him around, move him in different positions today, and it was good to see that. And that just lets you know, and it's a testament to his maturity, his maturation throughout the years, and he's going to be a great asset to this team.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Appreciate you guys.